Hello and welcome everyone to We'll Be Right Back, the future of hospitality. On We'll Be Right Back, we interview people from every corner of the service and hospitality industry, as well as representatives from organizations providing relief and resources as we learn how to manage and settle into this new reality after COVID-19. I am your host, Greg Tilton. Today, I am joined by Aspen Hardaway, the founder and owner of Passion Events Staffing. Aspen, thank you so much for coming on the show. Can you please introduce yourself and Passion Events Staffing?
Thank you so much, Greg, for having me. My name is Aspen Hardaway. I am the founder and owner of Passion Events Staffing here in New Orleans.
Awesome. So can you tell us a bit about Passion Events Staffing, how long y'all been in business, what your primary work is?
So Passion Events Staffing got started after I was working for a company called Brotherhood. And what Brotherhood was doing, I had a particular unit called My House, and we had kids that were run away from the smaller parishes to come to New Orleans to actually be comfortable in their skin. The majority of them were gay kids that actually run away because their family did not accept them or their community did not accept them, and they would come to New Orleans in hopes of being themselves. So I, working this program, came up with ideas. I partnered with the police department. We got them their ID, we got them their social security card, and I would have these career days. Different local leaders would come in and speak to them. But I felt like I needed to take it a step further, and that's how I came up with Passion Event Staffing. Well, actually, Passion Event Staffing came up a lot later than me actually coming up with the idea for these young kids to have a place of employment. And we all know that New Orleans is well known for its hospitality industry. So I started them in the hospitality training. It grew beyond big, and next thing I knew, I had a business to run.
And how long ago did you start this?
This has been now for 8 years. I've actually been in business for 8 years. I worked for Brotherhood for about 4 years prior to starting this company.
Can you tell us a little bit about those early weeks leading up to COVID-19, especially shelter in place and the progressive shutdown of businesses? What was the impact for Passion Event? What have you been doing since? What have your employees been doing?
Well, it's interesting. March and October are actually two of my busiest months. There are a great deal of weddings in New Orleans in the month of March, and there are a great deal of weddings in the month of October, as well as just parties. You know, the cities, everything's growing and turning green again. So everybody wants to have an event. Needless to say, March, again, was one of my busiest months. I worked March 3rd, and that was my last day of actually working. Then I started hearing from clients and other planners here in the city that our event had actually been canceled and postponed, or canceled and postponed. And it's pretty interesting because of my staffing, a lot of diversity going on in my staffing. I've been so fortunate that a lot of the parents that were initially clients of mine, and some are still clients of mine, would call on to me to hire their kids to work with me, which I thought was really, really kind and nice. And I felt very much pleased to know that my clients wanted their kids to work for me. So I had this diverse group of kids. I had some kids that come from absolutely nothing. I mean, living on the streets, to these other kids that were a lot more privileged than they were. And the two combined, and it was just incredible at watching the friendships that have come out of this. But back to this virus, everything was going great up until that point. I had, again, bookings all the way through June. June normally slowed down because hurricane season starts, but we still have things going on in June as well as July. So it was business as usual. Now it's business at a complete halt.
Yeah, I imagine after 8 years, I work in the film production industry or video production industry, and a lot of it is referrals and these regularly scheduled things every year. I typically work Essence Fest, or I work something maybe New Year's, right? There's these jobs that you kind of depend on, especially when you're a non-salaried individual. This has obviously been very disruptive, and I imagine for y'all, it's kind of a holding pattern right now.
Absolutely. We were looking forward to Essence Fest. I do a lot of things with them as well. We were looking forward to Jazz Fest. I host a lot of events around the season of Jazz Fest. The French Quarter Festival was a huge letdown because I had so many bookings. There are so many bookings that clients would host people at their homes, and then they would go out and proceed to go to the French Quarter Festival or the Jazz Festival. That was one of my major concerns, is that I knew that some of my staff would be okay, but there were others that I was really concerned about. And so I took the initiative to have them in my home and to let them use my computer here at home, just so that they can fill out for unemployment, so that they could fill out for whatever they could possibly get. And then I found myself being an investigator of all the resources that are out here for the hospitality industry.
Can you talk a bit more about some of those resources?
Well, there's a phone number that you can call here in New Orleans. It's 311, and they will just direct you to any need that you may have. We have food being given out all around this city. The one thing that I am pleased to say is that I'm so happy during this pandemic that I am in New Orleans, because we're so ready for things to happen. We're prepared, and this community just absolutely come together during any kind of hurricane season or any kind of natural disaster. I see this community rise up, and this is the best place to be if you're going to have a pandemic. For me, the resources are plentiful. Some of the kids did not know that they would qualify now for food stamps because they're no longer working, which has been a tremendous help. There's so many different locations where you can go and get food. So I urge anyone listening, if you're having any kind of problems, whether it be financially, emotionally, physically, you can call 311 and they will definitely direct you in the right direction.
See, that's such a good resource to know about too, because a lot of what we've seen, and this is not a knock people, we've participated in this, a lot of the stuff is online, right? And a lot of people who maybe have uncertain housing, uncertain transport, or maybe using low-tech equipment and don't have access to good internet or smartphones, these things are not always readily available, but almost anyone can at least find a phone somewhere or borrow a phone somewhere. There's pretty much no one who is completely disconnected from that. And so it's really good to know about these resources, such as just a simple phone call.
Yes, I agree. Now, a lot of the kids would use the library to access different things. And now we know that library is closed. So I thought maybe I should definitely open my home up and open my resources up that I can provide to help them access resources. Entergy, surprisingly, has a great number of resources, not just the fact that they are not turning off any electricity at this time, or there are no late fees that are going to be involved if you can afford to pay on time. They also have a great deal. If you go to their website, they have a great deal of resources as well. Again, this community has just actually stood up and rose to the occasion, which makes it a lot easier. And I agree with you. I've also found that a lot of people in the underserved communities, which are some of these are my staff, do not actually have internet at their home. And I don't say that lightly. I was actually surprised to go to several people home and find that they did not have internet access. So again, I've made myself available, considering now that the library is closed. That would be their go-to whenever they had to fill out something. And a lot of them actually needed assistance with just filling out for the stimulus check, or filling out for unemployment, or filling out for food stamps as well, because some of them have not completed 12th grade.
During our pre-call, I was really struck by all the stuff that you have personally been doing. I mean, yesterday we moved our recording to today, and your first reaction was, oh, great, I can go back out and volunteer. And meanwhile, you have people coming to use your computer and use your internet. I mean, like you said, you're saying there's all these amazing, the community's really stepped up, but you personally have stepped up.
I'm just excited to be able to do whatever I can. I know that there are so many people that are so unaware of even this virus still to this day. I'm a huge advocate about going into the communities and actually just educating people. And when I pull up on my staff, because sometimes I do surprise visits, and they're all acting as though it's business as normal as far as no masks on their face or no gloves, and they're shaking hands and talking to each other. And I'm just like, you guys, there isn't a pandemic going on here. So I just try and encourage as best as I can, wherever I can, whenever I can. And there's so many people need help right now as far as volunteers are concerned. There's schools that are passing out lunches each day because they realize that these kids are now at home, and this was one of the best meals they can get is at school. So they've got schools throughout the city that are passing out lunch each day. I actually stopped yesterday at one of those sites and gave a hand, and they gave me some stuff to carry home with me because people were unaware that they were giving out food at this particular site. But I was able to take that food again over to my staff that work for me in the underserved communities, and they were very grateful.
So I guess I kind of step back a little bit to what we were talking about with your business earlier, if that's all right. I'm kind of curious, where do you kind of see Passion Event staffing going from here? Obviously, the entire nature events are going to change. We all don't know exactly how things are going to change, but what do you foresee for your business? What do you see being a permanent fixture or a permanent change moving forward?
I am definitely working on my website right now. I am improving it in ways that have been unimaginable to me before this pandemic. So that's one thing that's changing in a very positive way for my business. There's certain questions, there's certain things that people will be able to do that they didn't have the access to before. There's certain questions about their event that I necessarily don't have to get on the phone with each person or each client and go through or go over with them. So I say, as far as that aspect is concerned, my business will be better through the website and through Instagram, of course, just seeing some of the events that we've done and that we've been a part of, and seeing some of the clients that we've been a part of as well. I'm just really uncertain about when we will be able to actually host an event again. And I also am going to have a meeting with my staff because safety first. If they're uncomfortable uh, being a part of an event, then I have to respect that. And I have to actually just pull the reins back a little bit all myself and just try and figure some of these new challenges out as we move along, as we move forward. I see us being very busy. I cannot say this, I get a little emotional, a little choked up. I've had clients calling me and literally sending me money for events that we would have done with them. So that was pretty huge to me to know that my client base is so caring and so concerned about this industry that they've actually sent money to me because they were like, you're always there for us. You always provide us with such an excellent team. You know all the best chefs in the city, and your production work as well is great. So we just wanted to forward this to you. And that meant a great deal to me. As far as the future, I am very optimistic. I think that I'm hoping by October, I'm so busy that when I come home and change clothes, I'm back out the door again as normal. I used to run from those challenges because it was sometimes very overwhelming because everybody wanted me to be there as well. And I sometimes wish there were triplets and I was part of them because I would send one of me to each place. As far as the future is concerned, again, I have to remain optimistic. Of course, we have to listen and look forward to what our leaders are sharing and telling us. And my most important thing is safety first. I definitely do not want to put any of my staff or clients in harm's way. So my approach, I'm thinking, will probably be masks when we first initially get started. And I've definitely been fortunate enough to actually have masks made. So it may be a different look, but I think that's the new normal for a while.
Every industry is facing this in unique ways. And what I love is this community has been so, I don't know about you, but I see so much on social media. Hey, this bar is doing to-go cocktails. This restaurant's doing curbside pickup. This one's doing delivery. Everyone's been trying to really shop local, or at least that's what it looks like to me. But there's no way to shop local with events right now. I can't hire you for events I don't have. And I think it's just amazing that you have these people who recognize that and then also stepped up and did something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I concur with you 100%. There will be a lot of things that when they start doing the soft opening of New Orleans, there's, of course, parishes all around us that are open and serving for business. But of course, it's service very different. But in the hospitality industry, especially in this particular sector with, actually going to people's homes or going to venues, if a venue is not open, then how can we even host an event there? If they haven't made us confident or comfortable enough with even going out and being a part of an event, then it is definitely a challenge. We see the nurses and the doctors. We all rely and depend upon the people that are at the stores that are actually, we're able to go into a supermarket and buy groceries and things of that nature. We're that frontline group again, but it's in such a different way because this is a luxury. To have servers or to have service to actually come and host your event is considered a luxury and not essential. So it will be a challenge.
So Aspen, my final major question for you is, what should people take away from your experience?
I think my experience has been, and I would like to encourage anyone out there that's listening, please keep a journal. Journals are so important to your life. We learn from history, and journals are nothing more than history, your own personal history, your own personal experience. I've learned to slow down and to really, look at things and appreciate the smaller things in life. I've learned how important family is, to make sure that you let your family know while they're here how much you love and care about them, as well as friendships. Friendships are so important. I've learned through this pandemic that, boy, some of my friends have been, I had a birthday and my friends literally rolled out the red carpet for me. And we did it at a social distancing, of course. I've just learned to be extremely grateful and to just take my time and to slow down and to learn to love and to make sure you find your passion and seek out your passion and do your passion. And if I can encourage you of those things, please, by all means, if you've heard anything out of our interview here, please, please, please love yourself. Love yourself, love your family, love your friends, and slow down and just be grateful.
Aspen, thank you so much for coming on the show. Is there anything else you want to discuss before we wrap it up?
I think we covered a great deal. I'm sure once this is over, I will think of things and maybe I'll reach out to you again. Greg, thank you so much for having me. Thank you on behalf of Passion Event Staffing. Thank you on behalf of the hospitality industry here in New Orleans and the hospitality industry throughout this country. We thank you for this interview.
Oh, thank you so much, Aspen. That means a lot. So before we wrap it up, though, let me get those shameless plugs. Where can we find you? Where can we find Passion Events?
Well, Passion Events is working on a new website. So the old website has been taken completely down. Instagram, my Passion Event Staffing Instagram is up. If you have any questions or you want to reach out to me through Instagram, you certainly can. And my email address is aspenhardaway.ah@gmail.com. Please feel free to reach out.
Thank you so much, Aspen, and I can't wait to have you back on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, you take care.
You too.
Thank you so much for listening to We'll Be Right Back, the future of hospitality. Each episode, we will be highlighting a different organization contributing to the relief effort here in New Orleans. This episode, we would like to highlight the Made in New Orleans Foundation. Mino envisions a New Orleans hospitality industry that leads the world in growing, supporting, and financing the success of people of color. They use a multidisciplinary approach to address and eliminate disparities facing hospitality professionals of color. In response to COVID-19, Mino is providing immediate emergency financial aid and resources, supporting career and business recovery, and providing online programming to amplify the voices of hospitality professionals of color. To learn more, head on over to minofoundation.org. That's MINO foundation.org. We'll Be Right Back is produced by me, Greg Tilton. My co-producers are Barry Schwartz of My House Events and Elizabeth Tilton of Oyster Sunday. Barry and Elizabeth are offering incredible resources and services during this time through their New Orleans-based businesses, as well as collecting and sharing various initiatives by other individuals and organizations. All of these are linked in the show description, so please make sure to check them out. You can follow us on Twitter for the latest updates and to let us know what's up, @RightBackNola. Please also consider leaving a review for us on whatever podcast platform you fancy. It helps us know what you think, and it helps people find the show. Our cover art was created by Eugenie McClellan. Our show's music was produced by Sarisu. We have links to their work in the show notes, so give them some love.